not a very good listener, are they? And they're not very good conversationalists. We're going to spend some time today really honing a skill. Toastmasters gives us the opportunity to learn how to be good speakers and how to learn how to be good presenters, but we also have some key roles that help us to be good listeners. Specifically, in addition to an evaluator, we are able to build those skills by being grammarians, by being the word of the day person, and being the counter. But let's back up 2 steps. Why are listening skills important? I want you to take a minute and flip the back side of your agenda or a blank piece of paper and just write down 3 reasons that you think listening is an important skill for any professional person to have. 3 reasons. So if you have those 3 written down, in addition to that, I would like you to write 3 ways that we can be better listeners. What are some approaches to listening intently and with our full attention? More seconds to finish that up. And let's get some of your feedback. Let's just do a quick little round robin. If you could share 1 reason on your paper that you wrote down, and we might have some overlap. We may have new ideas from everyone. But 1 reason why listening is a very important skill. Vishal, would you like to start?
If you listen somebody, then you can explain his questions or something answer very well, and then he will be getting the good knowledge or something understanding of that topic.
Okay, so you're getting a good knowledge and understanding of what this person is trying to convey with you, and that might help you to be able to answer
the good
them.
answer
Yes.
in the way which he wants.
Exactly. So first we want to seek to understand and then to be understood. So we have to be good listeners so that we can provide that person good information. Jim, thank you.
It shows concern or care. There's an old maxim that they never care how much you know until they know how much you care. So by showing how much you care by listening, people are more inclined to be open, and you are doing your active part.
Right. And really does help to build a rapport with that person. Have you ever been at a party where the person you're talking to is looking over your shoulder and scanning the audience, trying to find out who is there and not listening to a word you say? You really feel there's no connection or caring involved. And Bobby, is it Bobby? Brooks, okay.
It's kind of springboards what Christoph said about understanding where an individual is coming from.
Okay. Yeah, we want to definitely understand where someone's coming from. If we don't listen, we don't do that. Robert?
To discern any problems that may be going on.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on that just a little bit? How would you discern those problems? By listening.
Well, I guess it would depend on what conversation you were having with the person, but
right.
I put down 3 reasons to listen is to get information.
To get information, okay.
To understand problems if your coworker, your employer, your boss has issues. And then the other thing is just to kind of gauge emotions or attitudes.
Sure.
Because there's things that are unspoken that may be kind of what's our echoing what was already been said.
Sure. You know, a little side thought that with that, is that in addition to listening with our ears, many times we listen with our eyes. We're seeing the nonverbal communication. So someone might be saying one thing, but their nonverbal communication is completely opposite of what they're saying. They may be saying yes, but they're shaking their head no. And so that's very important. Nadine?
I'm going to concur with what Jim said, because I really feel it's important. That's a sign of respect. If you're not listening to that speaker, you're showing them disrespect.
Right.
And if you want to get the most out of whatever they're saying, you're going to respect them and give them the eye contact they deserve.
Exactly, yes. And it's just a way of, again, like you said, showing them respect and building that rapport with them by honoring them with giving them your full attention. It's Brooke, right? Yeah.
Very similar. So the person feels important.
Okay, yeah, great. We definitely want that to happen. Colleen, what about you?
Well, I'm going to be different and say in sales, you listen to discover what's needed and wanted.
Aha, yes. So there may be some definite information that we can glean by being good listeners and good question askers instead of saying, yes, and I, trying to do the one-upsman in the conversation. You're actually trying to glean information out of that. Lisa?
Pretty much like the table, building that rapport, you need to know what are their needs and wants and their concerns, what's important to them to get to know what questions you might need to ask them in return.
Great. Inyana, do you have?
Yeah, I have similar things, more like Colleen, I was saying about if you don't know what they want, and the only way you can do that is by listening to what they're actually saying through listening. So if you listen to what they're saying, then you'll be able to provide them with what they want.
Great. So we all benefit from being good listeners from a sales standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, from a business standpoint, on the personal side as well, whether it is a child, a spouse, a family member, friends. We want to be good listeners. It helps us personally, it helps us professionally. So we're going to spend some time today honing in on those skills. If I ask you, again, what are some ways that we can be better listeners? Inyanim, did you write anything down on that? Ways that we can be better listeners?
Yeah, I'm basically looking at the person's eyes, be attentive to whatever they're telling you or saying to you. As you're saying, when you're looking over the person, they know that you're not really listening to them.
Right, so good eye contact is very important. Lisa?
I would say if they were to say something to you, a lot of times reiterating what they've said back to them, that solidifies the fact that you have really caught what they are speaking of.
Right, that's a technique called mirroring. You're just repeating back or rephrasing what they've said. Good.
Facial expressions, nodding, just your own smiling, and just non-verbal acknowledgement of what they're saying.
Right. And when you're doing that, nodding, you're actually encouraging that person to continue on, that you like what they're saying. Good. Bobby?
I also wrote ask questions for clarity.
Okay, yeah. And that really does help make sure that you're hearing them correctly. Good. Nadine?
Your undivided attention, and that means not looking at your cell phone, which I know
Yes.
is hard.
Exactly. That undivided attention, getting rid of all distractions that might be there. Robert?
Well, I think I might have, it's the same thing, only rather than external distractions, I have a lot of internal distractions, and I think a lot of things going on in the head and thinking about other things, and it's a challenge sometimes to just turn those things off and focus on what the person's saying.
Exactly.
Because sometimes I listen to people and I'm looking right at you, and I'm like, I am so in depth thinking about something else. I don't have a clue as to what has just been said.
Exactly. I have the same problem, Robert. All that noise that we have going on inside of our head is very important. And as a trainer, that's very important to be a good conversationalist, to be a good presenter. Otherwise, people are writing their grocery list and, deciding what they're going to do for the weekend. So we really need to be captivating as speakers to help gain that person's attention. Brooke?
I'm just reiterating what other people have said, like turning off the internal dialogue.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Jim?
I think it's important to allocate the time when you're going to speak to someone that you know that you've cut out 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You set it on a planner. You say you're coming